Hello and welcome to this India Today, India Tomorrow special, where we are going to give you a slice of life cutting across generations. And in this instance, a political family that over the generations has actually paralleled 75 years of independence and even pre-independence India. I am joined by the Hoodas of Haryana, former Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda and his son and Rajya Sabha MP Deepender Hooda. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome.
When I said 75 years of independence, I meant it because I recall meeting your father Bhupinder ji, who was the youngest member of the Constituent Assembly in 1947. I recall meeting him in Parliament, Rajdeep Singh Hooda.
Yes.
So very few people know that your father was the youngest member of the Constituent Assembly. What are your memories of him and what was his contribution in a way?
He was a great freedom fighter also. And he had been member of 7 different houses.
7 different houses.
Yes, nobody in the world, I think, forget about India, would have been member of 7 different houses. That is Constituent Assembly,
Right.
Constituent Legislative Assembly, Provincial Parliament, Lok Sabha, Punjab Assembly, Haryana Assembly, and he retired from Rajya Sabha.
Wow.
No.
So he was in 7 different assemblies.
Yes,
and he was the youngest member of that
Youngest, and
Constituent
before
Assembly.
that, he went to, in freedom struggle, he went to 8 different jails. 4 are in India, 4 are in Pakistan. And he was the last president to be released by Britishers during freedom from Lahore. A straightway he came and he got elected in Constituent Assembly.
You know, it's an interesting story because there is another story associated with Ranbir Singh Hooda, which is that today there's so much of talk of the minimum support price, MSP, for farmers. I am told that in the Constituent Assembly debates, he was the one who first raised this issue of a minimum support price or a remunerative price for farmers.
Absolutely. Not only that, he called it enumerative price for farm produce. And he proposed it to be taken up in the constitution and to be taken up as a legal guarantee that constitution will provide. In fact, in a way, the farm movement of last year, if you remember, one of the main points which we are still fighting for is legal guarantee for that MSP. So when he proposed it on the assurance of Panditji and Dr. Ambedkar that this will be added as directive principle, not as a legal guarantee, that proposal was unanimously carried on as a proposal to the government. So
interesting, because not only that, he also was involved in pushing for Hindi as a national language in those Constituent Assembly debates.
Yes, because during debate, there was voting for which national language to be adopted. So Hindi got by one vote, Hindi won.
By one vote?
By one vote. And that was of Gyani Gurmukh Singh Sahib. My father, of course, he was Hindi speaking. He had to vote for Hindi. Absolutely right. But Gyani ji, who now erstwhile Punjab, now it is now Punjab, he was also member of Constituent Assembly, right. Gyani Gurmukh Singh Musafir.
Right.
So when the lobby was being cleared and doors were being closed, so my father saw, because they were very good friend with his Gyani ji. So he was not there. So he went for bathroom. So my father ran, pushed him from there, and he came and he voted. And it was national language. Hindi was
great story that someone was pulled out of the bathroom to come and vote in the Constituent Assembly to make Hindi the national language, and the vote was passed by one vote. So Ranbir Singh Hooda has a lot to his credit. So you come from a very historic family in a way, because even Ranbir Singh Hooda ji's father or your grandfather, Chaudhry Maturam, was close to Mahatma Gandhi. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. Because my grandfather was DCC president also in 1900 something. And in 1921, Mahatma ji came to Rohtak, and my grandfather organized a public meeting for him. There were 25,000 people over there in 1921. So that meeting was presided by my grandfather, Chaudhry Maturam, which was addressed by Mahatma ji, Lala Lajpat Rai, and Maulana ji. This I have got. This is
wow, the Tribune of 1923.
Yes, 21.
21.
This is February 1921. I got from Tribune Archives this thing.
Interesting. So this is a family, we are in 2022 and this is 1921. So it's crossed a century of your involvement in public service. Starts with Chaudhry Maturam, who was elected 1923 or lost his first election
He lost.
from the Swaraj party.
Yes, he contested from Swaraj party, but he lost. But he filed a petition, inquiry commission which was headed by 3 judges. So Lala Lajpat Rai started practicing at Lahore. That time, so he, on his behalf, he contested that petition.
So Lala Lajpat Rai argued on behalf of your father.
Yes, because his father, Lala Lajpat Rai's father, Munshi Radhakishan, was teacher of Persian language at Rohtak, and we had a very close association. These families, Ajit Singh, Pagadi Sambal Jotta, he stayed with my grandfather, uncle of Shahid Bhagat Singh, in my village for more than 1 month. So they were Arya Samaj. Arya Samaj movement brought them together, were close. So my grandfather, he was a social reformist also, through Arya Samaj, and education also. The first high school in Rohtak, that Anglo-Sanskrit High School, he was the founder president of that.
It's very interesting.
In 1912.
It's almost as if you look at Rohtak and the Hoodas, you all are joint at the hip between your grandfather Deepender, Ranbir Singh Hooda, yourself and Bhupinder ji. I think you won what, 10 times Lok Sabha elections between the 3 generations?
So we have represented, that's right, we have represented Rohtak in Indian Parliament. Thrice my grandfather, 4 times my father. And I've been lucky enough and people have been kind enough to let me represent also Rohtak 3 times. Now, this is my 4th term in Parliament. Now I'm in Rajya Sabha, of course. But yes, and from the very beginning, from the first Lok Sabha, in fact, from the provisional Parliament.
So let's come back, let's come from that time of Chaudhry Maturam, Ranbir Singh Hooda to the age of Bhupinder Singh Hooda and Deepender Hooda. Were you someone who was therefore almost told कि आपका future politics में है? Because when I look at your CV, you did a BTech, you did engineering from Rohtak, then you go abroad, did an MBA, you were working for a while in America.
Yeah.
Was it that your father told you, नहीं ये सब ठीक है, you have to become a politician?
No, absolutely not. I was given complete freedom to choose my path, and I was doing well on my professional track. Like you said, I did my engineering. Then I worked with Infosys for a couple of years. Then I went to US, did my MBA from there, and I was doing very well. After that, I was working also. I was working professional for a couple of years. I was in between my jobs. I was working with Sabre, and I got offered from McKinsey, and that's a particular position which I really wanted. So I was in between jobs, and I was just visiting back home, and you know, at that point of time, spending a couple of weeks here and then going back to US, it's a very interesting story. How I took the decision to come to join politics, and basically when I went back, I was never happy again in the professional life there, and I felt that whatever I do I may achieve great heights in the corporate world of America, but that will be superficial success. I'll be happy superficially, but internally, my heart lies here, and if I can do something for my country, my people, and my state, then the kind of satisfaction that I'll draw will ensure that I am a content old man. So I looked at my, end of my life, that what will make me content, and I decided that in a minute that I'll have to come back. And in fact, it was a decision which I took in the middle of the night, and 2 weeks later, I sold everything that I had there, my car, my house, everything, which I had built over years of professional life, and I came back to
So you chose, instead of living in a New York or a Chicago, you chose to come to good old Rohtak.
That's right.
And this was overnight. Almost those 2 weeks coming back changed your life.
Absolutely.
It wasn't dad telling you, beta, tumko India mein rehna hai, you are the Hoodas have to be in politics.
Always from my father's side, my mother's side, family side, I had complete freedom. and I have a free mind also. One thing I have to say though, from the very beginning, see, whenever my father used to be contesting elections, I remember first election, I remember I may have been in the 6th standard, or I used to very much get involved in the electioneering, and I had that political instinct and the love for my people. So every election, whenever I would go to, my father would recall that story or not. I was in Mayo College, Ajmer, I was in boarding school. So election had taken place. So I had gone to many places to sort of represent him and seek votes.
You wrote a letter.
So went back to Mayo. I wrote a letter. He got elected as a member of parliament 91 election. So I wrote a letter to him that Papa, I went to this village and I went to this colony in.
There's a problem for
they have a drinking water problem. And this is me in like 8th standard or 9th standard. They have a drinking water problem. Whatever you have to do, you have to do. Please ensure. I promise on your behalf that this gets solved.
No, because the reason I'm asking this is...
So I had that thing.
You know, the reason I'm asking this is one argument, and Prime Minister Modi makes it about the Congress party, कि परिवारवाद है. Nehru Gandhi family, Hooda family, these are all families that have controlled the party. You all have controlled Haryana politics for so many decades. How do you respond? Is it family control? Is it love for the people? How do you respond?
I'll tell you. Family, some profession, whatever, whether in politics or somebody's jeweler or whatever it may be. If son of jeweler joins that profession, doesn't matter. But he should not be thrust on that. Only if he is willing to do it, public is ready to accept it, that is acceptable.
You did not force him into politics.
No, I didn't force him.
If he wanted to have, if he wanted to live in America, you had no problem.
USA. My father never forced me.
Your father never forced you.
No.
So why did you? He says he decided he wanted to do public service, so he went into politics. Why did you choose?
Because my father retired from politics. So I did my law. I was practicing at Rohtak. The people wanted me to join. It is not my father. It was people of the area. They came. No, you should come up. So I joined Youth Congress.
See,
because people will say, is it that there is only one family that runs Rohtak, the Hoodas?
I'll give you another. So, like I said, from my point of view, from the beginning, I had that little thing on my conscience, and when I took that decision based on. But then, when I first got back and got elected, the next election, this was 2004, I won by about 2.5 lakh votes. The next election, my speech was that, see, if I have worked, you bless me. You give me marks. So I had that thing, that I had to prove myself. If I work, because in democracy, ultimately, if you are a political family, that may open door for you to step in the politics. But people have to accept, and you have to deliver for the people, and it's up to the people to reject. So many how many people were in the Constituent Assembly, and the third generation would still be alive in politics or in the first Lok Sabha. So people have to accept. So my next election, my margin was 5 lakh votes. First election, I was fighting in the name of my party, ideology, and my family, my father and my grandfather. But the next election, for 5 years, I had been with my people, and I had whatever my behavior, my deliverance, they had seen, and based on that, they re-elected me with double the margin. In fact, it was more than 5 lakh votes, one of the highest margin in the country in 2009.
Because Mr. Modi keeps saying, I refer to him because as the Prime Minister, he has made it his narrative, Namdar versus Kamdar. कि मैं हूँ कामदार, I have come, I'm a चाय वाला का बेटा हूँ. ये बाकी जो हैं, they have come from influential families, they are entitled dynasts, and therefore life is very easy for them.
But democracy, that depends on the will of the people. Whatever people want. If the people want me to be in politics, I'll be there. If they want to exit me, whatever my father,
people don't elect anyone.
Whatever my father, grandfather, he may be. But if I don't deliver, they will shut me out.
You don't think you could have just won elections on the name of your grandfather or father? You needed to prove yourself.
Yeah, my father retired long back. He retired in 78, but I won in 91.
Right. And I'll tell you another thing. नामदार and कामदार जो आप कह रहे हैं, you know, a namdar can also be a kamdar. In democracy, kamdar is most important. I agree with Mr. Modi on that. I totally agree with him. बिना कामदार के कोई लोकतंत्र में किसी को लोगों का आशीर्वाद नहीं मिलता. लेकिन कुछ कोई नामदार भी कामदार हो सकता है और कोई नामदार निकम्मा भी हो सकता है. वो लोग फैसला करते हैं. So ultimately it's the will of the people, and you cannot rule somebody out. If somebody is well intentioned and somebody can do good for the people and is a very genuine person, just because he is born to a political family, that's one point. Second point, quickly, is you inherit both things. Sometimes you inherit great things. Like I said, the first thing is to get your foot in the door, etc., etc. But you also inherit the fact that a lot of people say, oh, आपका तो परिवार तब से है, अभी तक ये नहीं हुआ. तो
so it's an advantage and a disadvantage to have a family surname.
They're both things,
You know,
like
because-
everything in life.
Because if I look at Haryana politics over the last 50 plus years, 4 or 5 families have dominated it. There was the Devi Lal and family, Bansi Lal ji and family, Bhajan Lal ji and family, and now the Hooda family. 4 or 5 families have sort of, in a way, monopolized politics. So, as an outsider, we'll say Haryana is all about family Raj. या तो देवी लाल के बेटा became a chief minister of Haryana. Bansi Lal pushed his children also into politics. Kuldeep Bishnoi, the son of Bhajan Lal, is still in politics. So the argument is, in a state like Haryana, few families run the show.
But you see, my father, he was son of a farmer, right? His father was not MP or chief minister. My father was not chief minister. He was in politics. He was a freedom fighter. He fought for the nation. You see, their thinking was entirely, that generation thinking is entirely different. When he was in jail, my uncle, मेरा ताऊ जो है, मेरी मदर को ले गए मिलाने के लिए लाहौर जेल में. तो माई फादर सेड, इनको क्यों ले आए भाई तुम मेरे को मिलाने के लिए? मैं तो जिंदा जाऊंगा कि नहीं जाऊंगा, देश के लिए लड़ेंगे. दैट वाज देयर थिंकिंग. Only after, when he became a member of Constituent Assembly and he was MP also, I used to say, what was their agenda? Their agenda was only on the head was nation building, nothing else. It was not how to win election. That was not the same thing.
It's an interesting thing you're saying. Is that the big difference? That in your father's generation and even your grandfather, it was about nation building, freedom fight. Now politics is not about public service. It is about winning elections. साम दाम दंड भेद करके चुनाव जीतना है.
मैनिफेस्टो बनते हैं वो तो how to
नहीं, पैसे की राजनीति. हुडा साहब, let's be
how
honest.
to get maximum vote. That is because now it is democracy. You have to fetch the votes. So there is basic difference. But that generation, you see, which was all member of Constituent Assembly, I think 99.9 were freedom fighters. They fought for that. They were in jail. All their youth went in the jails.
But today's politicians, do they have the same sense of public service? Let's be honest. Are today's politicians driven by public service या personal profit करना है? We want to increase our assets. हमें अपनी एक विरासत बनानी है.
दोनों किस्म के आदमी हैं. हमारे जैसे भी हैं. जो ये तो अपने दादा के पास ही बैठा ना. He has been got learning from his grandfather. मेरे पास नहीं बैठा है कभी, but he used to sit with grandfather.
Yes, he's right about one thing. So I was saying that ठीक है, professional, I went on a professional track and I was doing very well in US, etc., etc. But my roots and my beginnings, in my early childhood, I used to spend all my time with my grandfather, listening to the stories about freedom struggle and about what that generation, how they sacrificed everything. Like one day I remember, some of the memories that I have, I was looking at my grandfather. He used to shave without looking at the mirror, and my father used to shave looking in the mirror. So I asked him, my first sort of recognition of the world that shaving is something. I said, दादाजी आप तो शीशे की तरफ देख ही नहीं रहे. तो उन्होंने कहा कि बेटा अंग्रेजों की जेल में शीशे नहीं होते थे.
अरे वाह.
So
very
that had the impact. Those things.
अंग्रेजों के जेल में शीशे नहीं होते थे.
And so those things make an impact. So I feel lucky and blessed that some of those sentiments got into my subconscious when I was a little child. So what the point is that, in today's generation, like you asked, are everybody driven by principles, or there are certain people who are? And you're absolutely right. If you look at it, of course, that generation came through the freedom struggle, and subsequently, we have seen, and I have seen in my 4 terms in Parliament in the last 20 years, the quality of politics in our country has actually gone down, has dipped, and I don't want to blame on one party or the other, but overall, I mean, even the sense of debate in Parliament, if you look at the last 20, 30 years, 90s, if you look at the debate, the level of debate, how, all those things, so should worry us as a nation. But, whatever the reality of the generation is, then, but you cannot say that you cannot bracket everybody in one corner or the other.
The reason I'm asking you this is when you became Chief Minister of Haryana in 2005, and you were twice Chief Minister, you are credited with a lot of development projects, but you were also attacked by your critics saying there's a lot of corruption, a lot of land scams, some of which the charges even CBI has framed now. And
no,
they say...
There's no land grabbing in my...
nothing. They said scams. They claimed that there were various irregularities in land deals. The point is...
After 8 years, nothing has been...
Sure, but the point is in your father's generation, none of this was there. Now, increasingly, politicians find themselves being charged with corruption, money, power coming into politics. Has that changed?
You see, what has changed? About Haryana you were talking. When Haryana was formed, it was all sandy state. There was one medical college, which was, my father was minister with Pratap Singh Karon, he got it to Rohtak. There was no engineering college. There was nothing. No, now, the 2 aspects, health and education. So I concentrated on that. And that is why now anybody from Haryana doesn't go to Karnataka or anywhere for engineering, for medical. You see, almost every district, every institution I created during that period, that you start from NIFTAM, National Institute of Fashion Technology at Panchkula, National Institute of Design at Kurukshetra, Medical College Kalpana, Medical College at Karnal, Rajiv Gandhi Education City at Rohtak, Mahila University in Sonipat, Rajiv Gandhi Education City in Sonipat, and Mahila University, first medical college for women only, that is in Kanpur. You see, and Faridabad, the medical college is there. Then YMCA, which was very small institute, that university was innovated. Then first Defence University in Gurgaon, then Central University, then Indira Gandhi University in Rewari, Sainik School, then AIMS in Jhajjar, then IIM at Rohtak, then the third university, Visual and Performing Arts University at Rohtak, then Animal Sciences University at Hisar, Choi Bansilal's university named after Bansilal in Bhiwani, and one university named after my father at Jeend. So this is education and health. But a lot of medical colleges are coming.
Nobody, as I said, a lot of people I speak to say, when Mr. Hooda was Chief Minister, there was a lot of development that took place. But because land was so precious and agricultural land was being denotified for many of these projects, questions have been raised over alleged money making, and that Haryana was being used by the Congress as a cash cow for the Congress party.
Nowhere it has been mentioned that money has been passed to me. Nowhere. Even the cases which are going, that there may be irregularity, but that allegation is not with me. Not even a single. But not even a single.
But in a sense, I'm.
If you see, there's one case. A plot was allotted to Associate Law General, AJL, by Sri Bhajan Lal. All right, that was already allotted, but I extended with some penalty. What is that?
No, the reason I'm asking you is again as an outsider, today you cannot fight elections without having a war chest of money, resources. Today Congress attacks the BJP saying BJP monopolizes the resources. The BJP says when the Congress was in power, they would monopolize the cash. Has money power changed politics from your father's generation to Deepender's generation?
That is, I tell you, when I was very small, about 52 or 57, a candidate of assembly, he was friend of my father, he was given by party 2,000 something to contest election. Out of that, he spent only 1,500 and 1,000 he returned to the party. So you have to find out people. There are people like that also in this politics.
But are they still such people? Today, if I'm...
You can't classify in one thing. That every type of person is there, in everything, in your field also.
Sure.
Everybody can't be Rajdeep Sardesai.
Sir, but the fact is that, as times have changed, Deepender, have you found that more difficult? You've come from America, you came to a system which perhaps was very different to what you were used to as a management graduate working in an American business. Is that something that frustrates you? That if you have to fight elections in India today, you have to do, as I said, Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed politics.
That is what you hear increasingly. My personal election, I have actually been one of those candidates who have relied on the traditional campaigning, very much traditional campaigning, and not overspending by any means. So, but there are a lot of parties, and including the BJP, which is now gone in the overdrive, and even one here is Aam Aadmi Party, and I'm seeing the kind of budget that they are doling out on media, advertisement, and all the other means available. So you cannot deny that money spending has become an important part of a political, of the major political parties, and some states. This one hears that candidates are spending so much. There are certain states which are, and apparently this trend is, catching up across the country. So it is something for the lawmakers to be really concerned about, because see, if this remains unchecked, you look at what has happened with the political parties and the bonds and whatnot. I don't want to get into the debate how BJP is disproportionately getting 70-80% of the money resources of the country today to fight, and then giving it to its candidates. Then an honest guy, any honest person and an honest candidate, it won't be a level playing field. And that's why this is something which genuinely the lawmakers should be concerned about. But unfortunately, what I see in the top leadership of the country today is basically using the resources to just retain the power. That tendency.
Before I take a break, the reason yes, some states perhaps money power matters even more than others, but because Haryana had the rise of Faridabad, of Gurugram, of all these precious land, real estate in and around, that's why the politics of Haryana got changed. From an agrarian state, it became a state of who controls, in a way, the land real estate lobbies. Is that true or not?
Because of Delhi. We are in
because
NCR
of Delhi.
And NCR.
So land sharks took over.
It was opportunity for the state to dwell, to generate employment for the people. You see, and for that you need education system. That is why, you see, when I became Chief Minister, so many people or those who are serving in private firms, they used to from Delhi and come back. So I asked one of them, but why are you not employing Haryana people over here? So he said that the quality of education is not there. So it struck me. That is why I created so many universities and so many institutes. Why not? Why
because
not?
An impression that the Jats are a hardy, tough agrarian community. They will be out there to fight for agriculture. Do you believe that shift is now taking place from agrarian community to becoming more and more involved in other occupations, other activities?
Yes, it should. It should be.
Is it happening?
It should be. It is happened. It is happening.
100%.
It has happened. And it should be. Agriculture should not be, avoided, or it should not be ignored. That is, without that you can't go ahead.
But Haryanvis have done well, and I don't want to
Both
just
in
the
agriculture
community,
and industry.
but I'm just one community or the other.
See, in 2014 when I left, per capita income of the state of Haryana was number one in country. Per capita investment was also number one. When 2000 I left.
So you're saying Haryana should be seen as a success story.
Yes.
And the traditional stereotype of the Jat community has also changed, you believe, over these
That
years.
is the national.
You know, you're producing great sports stars. You're producing
That was my policy. I brought in special policy for that,
for sport.
for sports. Padak lao, pad pao. I appointed DSP and whoever won.
You know, I want to tell our viewers, Mr. Hooda is an excellent tennis player. And if you've seen Wimbledon, occasionally you'll see him on center court, semi-final, finals. I believe you once played even against Boris Becker.
Yes, but
You played Boris Becker?
yes, myself and Vinay, we were partner doubles, and Sanjeev Kasal and Boris Baker, they were partner.
Where did you all play?
Gymkhana?
You played at the Delhi Gymkhana.
Yes.
How did you fare? Did you take a game of Becker or not?
No, he won the one by tiebreaker.
They won on a tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
Bhupinder Singh Hooda took Boris Becker to a tiebreaker.
Yes.
You play tennis.
I do.
Is Dad the better tennis player?
I don't play with him, but
Who's the better tennis player?
I'm sure, I mean,
Come on, be honest.
I think he would be a better tennis player.
He's certainly the more enthusiastic player. I've seen your enthusiasm.
Myself and Vinay, they are champion of Gymkhana also.
You've been a champion of the Delhi
Doubles,
Gymkhana?
doubles, yes.
You've been a doubles champion.
See,
Yes,
Rajdeep,
double.
I think he's a better tennis player because if I'd be still playing at his age, I'd be very lucky. So, I mean, for his age, I have not seen a more enthusiastic sports person, like you rightly said.
Good. So,
Rajdeep, when you started, this is 75 years.
Yes.
See, exactly on 15th of September, I completed 75, entered 76th.
the future. You know, there's been a lot of confusion in the last few years around the Congress party, around your own role, Mr. Hooda. You were seen to be part of the so-called G23, those who were challenging the Gandhi family. Now you're back in control, it seems, of Haryana, and everyone says the Hoodas have taken over Haryana once again.
This
So,
is wrong.
are you a firm congressman? Were you a Congress rebel?
I'm a congressman, but this is wrong conception that we were challenging the Gandhis. No, we suggested some steps to strengthen the Congress. That was if I feel something which will strengthen the Congress, I can again write what is there to my leader. Or
So you were just suggesting changes that you wanted to see in the Congress. One of those changes...
You can say we worked as a reformist.
You were the reformist.
Yes.
But you were seeking to change the way the party was being run. You wanted changes, you wanted elections.
We wanted election of AICC president, which is being held, which is already done.
But many say that is all a fixed game. Yes, a fixed match. Hai. Whoever the Gandhi family wants becomes Congress president.
That is right. The only majority, whoever gets the majority, he will be the Congress president.
You know, interestingly, he was seen to be siding with the reformers, so as he calls them, while you were seen to be very close to Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Even the UP elections, when Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was travelling, I saw you were there often with her. So, is there a generation gap that his generation closer to Sonia Gandhi and you closer to Rahul and Priyanka?
See, Sonia ji was the Congress president, and she is our leader, and so is Rahul ji and Priyanka ji, and we have been with the Congress party, and we have been with the Gandhi family, and we've been supporters of the family from the very beginning. So there is no confusion about that.
Motilal ji,
So if you were to say that Hooda Sahab is close to Sonia ji, and I'm close to Priyanka ji and Rahul ji, it's the I mean, of course, it comes with the generation. I mean, they are my age group. Maybe I'm a little more, but at the same time, that doesn't, by any means, decrease my respect for Sonia ji. I am equally comfortable and close to her also, and I see her as one of the great leaders of independent India also. So I mean,
no, you're saying this because there's a general feeling that even within the Congress there's a generation gap. You and your generation were more comfortable with the old style politicians, the likes of Ahmed, the late Ahmed Patel. You and he were great friends. You all were more comfortable in that world. This is a new world. Deepender's world is one of technology, social media, and your generation wants to do old style politics.
Yeah, our generation, my generation, we started youth Congress politics, whether it is Ashok Gehlot, whether it was Ahmed Patel, whether it was
Ghulam Nabi Azad.
Ghulam Nabi Azad, and likewise there were so many, me and Birinder Singh, who is not in party now, and Punjab also there were so many.
No, many of that generation seems frustrated. You know, Ghulam Nabi has left. Ahmed Bhai, of course, is no longer with us. Ashok Gehlot also. There's been a lot of talk about the manner in which he was almost being pushed out of the Rajasthan chief ministership.
He is the chief minister. What is
Yes,
it?
but there is a generational. Let's be clear. There is a generational battle going on. Rahul Gandhi's generation, and you can tell me this, Deepender, seems to want a different kind of politics. He's now on a Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Yes.
And many believe that, you know, he wants to craft the politics in his vision. He doesn't like these old generation politicians.
No, I don't
He
think-
wants new generation politicians.
I don't think that's true.
He
That's,
likes me. What
He
is it?
likes you, but you're an exception. You're an exception. Otherwise, he thinks that the old generation is into power all the time. He says power is poison. Is there a difference?
See, I don't think there is any. This is a media creation that he wants only the younger generation or the newer generation. He doesn't like the old generation. It's not like that at all. He has his own vision. Absolutely, his commitment towards the Congress ideology, towards the constitutional values of our country, towards the founding values of our country, are something that we are all very proud of, and that's the reason why we see him as our future leader and our leader of our party today. So, I mean, his vision is bound to be not exactly copy cut paste of vision of anybody else, including Sonia ji. Sonia ji would have her own perspectives and vision. That doesn't mean that the leaders of Sonia ji's generation or Hooda ji's generation, they don't accept his vision, or he doesn't.
No, but tell
there is
me.
no conflict there. My point is,
yes.
this generations change. I mean, you know, in any field, including in media, generations change. I mean, there would be some great media names before Rajdeep became a great name, and I'm sure in the future there will be new media personalities coming up. But that doesn't mean there is any conflict anywhere.
No, but
it's
tell
just
me,
a natural.
No, but tell me, since both of you are with the party, why is it that so many people have left in recent time, including from Bhupinder Singh Hooda's generation and yours? From your generation, the likes of Jyotiraditya, Jitin Prasad, RPN Singh, many of whom were close to you, I'm sure, and you all were seen as the next generation of the Congress. They've all left and joined the BJP. And there's a sense that is the Congress a sinking ship? Ye doobti hui naiya hai, people want to leave. And y'all have only stayed back because finally y'all have been given control of Haryana once again, and there's an election 2 years from now. Otherwise even Hooda Sahab would have left or Deepender would have left. Not true? No question. At no stage did you think of leaving?
I don't think.
You didn't try to stop Ghulam Nabi Azad from leaving?
No, I never knew when he's leaving. I came to know only after when he left it.
But why are so many people leaving? Is this perception, the media, certainly in the media, that Congress is a sinking ship? You've lost 2 elections badly. The BJP has become the dominant party. Even in Haryana, the BJP defeated you in Rohtak in 2019.
In a very, very close contest.
Yes.
And they deployed all the kind of means possible, because there were very few states in the entire north where the opposition was in contest, including in Rohtak, and they won by a couple of thousand votes. And I accept that verdict. So now,
Is it a sinking ship? Is the Congress a sinking ship?
So now, see, if electorally it doesn't need to be said. Yes, electorally we have not performed as well as we would have hoped to perform. That doesn't mean that there is that our belief in our ideological moorings stand diminished. Our path and where we want to see India, and our commitment to the constitutional values, and fighting for every section of our country remains as strong as it was when we were at the peak of the power. And these cycles of political power can sometimes create a situation where some individuals may find it inconvenient to stay out of power for a long time. That could happen, and that could be. I'm not commenting on any particular individual's decision to leave the Congress party or not. I'm sure there are many people who have left the other parties. In Haryana, for example, in the last 4 months, there are about 16 ex-MLAs, mostly belonging to the BJP or ex-ministers, who have joined the Congress party, including a gentleman that you were just meeting. He was also had left the Congress and was in BJP. They've joined the Congress party. So they're in different states. There are certain. So this is something which happens in a political spectrum. Just looking at it from a Congress, on the Congress and focusing on it, I don't think it's the complete picture. It's a part and parcel of politics.
You also believe the Congress will still endure? There is a feeling that the Gandhi family is no longer a vote catcher. Mr. Modi is the dominant leader. Indian politics, especially in North India, has changed. Hindutva has become the big dominant ideology.
It keeps on going and coming. But you have to agree, Congress is a brand which people want it.
No, Congress is a brand, yes, but do the people want it? There is now Aam Aadmi Party is emerging even in Haryana. The Aam Aadmi Party believes
if it is a brand, how can you say it is thinking? Maybe electorally,
it's a brand of the old era, not of the new generation.
No, that is what.
You don't agree with that?
Ideologically also, it is for new generation also.
Yes.
Ideological is it's a timeless ideology.
You don't see parties like Aam Aadmi Party and all threatening your future in Haryana, for example.
Absolutely not. Aam Aadmi, we had a by-election in Haryana. The results
Adampur election.
Adampur election. Kejriwal ji's hometown, a constituency in which they were focusing for last 5 months, ever since they won Punjab. They had put all the resources there. Kejriwal ji was there for 5 days. Bhagwant Mann ji was there for 6 days. Road show. They went there, announced the candidate, everything. Their hometown, he said, Adampur ka Lal Kejriwal, Haryana ka Lal Kejriwal. They got 1% vote. They got 1% vote. So people of Haryana in this current, the recent by-election have rejected Aam Aadmi Party, and they have selected the Congress party to take on as a leading opposition party to take on the BJP.
So you're confident of 2024? Because in 2019 you came very close, and many believe that had Mr. Hooda been given more powers earlier on, projected effectively, maybe you would have won. Do you believe you can come back in 2024 in Haryana?
Because from every section of the society, the response which the party is getting and we are getting, on that base I can say 2024 Congress is going to form the state government.
You're saying this at a time when most people say the non-Jats in particular are now fully consolidated behind the BJP in Haryana.
That is a concept.
And Congress is only a Jat party now.
There is no such concept. Nobody can be more secular than my family. You see, my grandfather was reformist. He was first, when I tell you in the Chota Sa main bataunga, it was 1957. I was hardly 10 years old. My father was contesting Lok Sabha election. I went to the village. तो वहाँ पे एक old lady came. वो कहने लगी मातूराम को पोता कौन है? मातूराम का she never talked about my father, but she talked about my grandfather. मैंने सुना उसका पोता आया हुआ है. तो कौन सा है? उन्होंने कहा भाई ये है मेरे को. ले गए तो she मेरे से हाथ पकड़ मेरे घर चल. ले गई अपने घर. बोला देख बेटा तेरे दादा को यहाँ बैठ के खाना खिलाया था मैंने, and she was scheduled caste.
Very interesting story.
No,
so you're saying that the divide...
secular.
Okay.
If you look at the recent performance
उस टाइम तो
the
बहुत
Congress
ही
party
untouchability. नहीं राजदीप उस टाइम बहुत untouchability थी when my grandfather went to our house.
So you're saying your family has always been strongly secular,
yes,
reaching out across communities. Yes.
Another thing, if you look at the electoral results of 2019, Congress won 31 seats.
Yes.
We won the if you look at the seat which is the largest Ahir population, Mahendragarh, IMLA Raudan Singh won. If you look at a seat which is the largest Saini population, Bishan Lal Saini, GRMLA won. If you look at the seat Rohtak, where the riots had taken place and people were saying that what you are saying, proposing, one of the largest Punjabi population constituency, RMLA, Bhushan Bibi Batra won. If you look at Mewat, the totally Muslim, all MLAs won. So all sections across Haryana And if you look at the Adampur by-election, which the results were out 3 days back, on the SC booths, we got 43% vote more than the BJP. So the farmer is consolidated behind the Congress party because of Hoodaji's leadership is a welcome thing. But so have the scheduled caste, the backward classes, and the other sections. The support we are getting from across every section of Haryana. People in Haryana want change. They wanted change in 2019 also. That the pollsters realized after the results were out.
They voted for Mr. Modi in the Lok Sabha, and the Vidhan Sabha elections was a much tougher fight. But you're saying you'll come back. Okay, let me, as we conclude, you've told us about how you took Boris Becker to a tiebreaker, which is a fascinating story. But there's another story which you told me a long time ago, which I think you need to tell our viewers. You almost died, Mr. Hooda,
Yes.
in a drowning accident.
Yes.
What was it, about 10, 20 years ago?
Yes.
Or 20 years ago?
About 20 years.
What was that?
Well, I was going to my farm via हरिद्वार तो फ्लैश फ्लड आ गया एकदम और मेरी गाड़ी रुक गई, वो नीचे गिर गई, मैं भी नीचे गिर गया. एंड आफ्टर many hours, 8 to 10 hours I was in water. So that was how I could hardly survive.
You were 8 to 10 hours under the water.
Yes, गंगा के पानी में, ठंडे पानी में, और मैं नीचे चला गया. I thought I am gone. तो ऐसा भगवान सबका भला करे. And within few seconds, you see, जैसे फास्ट फिल्म चलती है ना, I could see my childhood, my school, my college, my assembly, parliament. I could see it, but
तकदीर बदल गई.
तकदीर बदल, पीछे से पेड़ आ गया, वो टकरा गया, उसके ऊपर उठा दिया मैंने. Flash flood.
You know, that story in a sense is a reminder of the fragility of life. But I want to leave our viewers with maybe what we don't know about the Hoodas. What do you all do for relaxation? He plays his tennis whenever possible.
Yes.
How do you relax?
Pretty normal stuff. I play also. I play with my little one. My son is about 7 now. So I am teaching him cricket. You know, I'm teaching him.
Very good. So we moved from tennis to cricket.
I'm trying to correct his stance these days. That's the.
I know Deepender is not a bad cricketer, by the way. He played in an MPs versus journalists match and didn't do too
I
badly.
think you must know, when he was in school, so I asked Rajinder Goyal to coach.
The left arm spinner.
The left arm spinner. So he coached
Yes,
me for a
he
little
has
while.
been
So
his
I'm a
coach.
good. So I'm a good cricketer also.
He has been his coach.
And-
He's a friend of mine.
And the one thing that you get at the Hooda's residence is very good food. I just had before the interview parathas. Haryanvi जो पराठा बनाते हैं, much better than most people. Butter लगा के.
Butter.
What is the best way to have a paratha? Butter,
Makhan,
makhan.
मक्खन चटनी
dahi.
और दही.
Is that the normal staple food in the Hooda household?
Yes.
Not every day, but yeah, whenever Rajdeep is visiting.
Okay, well, no, but it was wonderful to, in a way, get a sense of your hospitality. And as we end, my producer is a Haryanvi. तो उन्होंने कहा कि हुडा साहब से गाना गवाइए. क्या कहते हैं उस गाने को? रागिनी.
हरियाणा में रागिनी
एक कोई लाइन कर दीजिए हुडा साहब. Younger generation may not know, but you start and he'll have to follow. एक लाइन कर दीजिए.
अरे आ गया थारा यार आ गया, चलो चलांगे, होली मनाएंगे, दिवाली मनाएं, चलो खेलेंगे कूदेंगे, चलो चलो भाई चलो.
See, this is the difference between him and you. You will struggle to sing that.
I will not. So I told you so.
Well, that's the difference between younger generation and they are more rooted.
They are more.
जमीन से जुड़े हुए हैं.
Absolutely.
Look, it's been wonderful to have both of you telling us about, as I said, a family who has contributed in different ways to public life in this country for a century. And therefore, thank you so much for doing this. India,
Thank you.
India today, India tomorrow. ये बताइए आप रिटायर होने वाले हैं कि नहीं?
No.
बीजेपी में मार्गदर्शक मंडल है.
बात सुने. नहीं, listen. Neither I'm tired nor retired.
Neither tired nor retired.
Okay.
So you're still going to fight in the next election. Okay.
Why not?
Deepender, Bhupinder Saab, thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much.
joining us. That was
Rajdeep.
India Today, India Tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.